Hello friends, welcome to the lecture series of Digital Electronics.
In this lecture, we will be talking about 4-bit as well as up counter and down counter. We'll also have some discussion about designing up-down counter in a single circuit, and then we will have some discussion over the modulus as well as counter, in which we will be having the discussion on designing some like mode 3, mode 5, mode 9 counters. In the last lecture, we were talking about designing of 1-bit and 2-bit as well as counter, in which we have seen both the configuration like up counter and down counter. Talking about the 4-bit as well as up counter. Now, as per our last discussion, when we were designing the up counter, and if we are having the negative edge triggered flip flop, so we will be connecting Q to clock of the next flip flop. So we are connecting Q to clock of the next flip flop. So let this is my first flip flop, or let this is my zeroth flip flop. This is first flip flop, this is second, and this is third. And we are talking about the JK configuration. So for 4-bit, we need 4 flip flop that we have taken. Since you are using as sequence counter, then clock will only be applied at the first stage. So at the here in the 0th stage, we will be applying the clock. In all other stages, like this first stage, second, and third, the clocking input will be the output of previous stage, and then you will see the strategy. So if you want to have a up counter and you are working with the negative as triggered flip flop, so as per our discussion, we will be connecting Q to the clock. If it is down counter, we will be connecting Q bar to the clock. So now let's see it's working. So this is the clock, and at every edge, our Q naught will be changing its value because flip flop first will be working. So flip flop zeros will be working, and since J and K both are equal to 1, it is working into the toggle condition. So if initially Q naught is in the reset condition, then at every occurrence of the clock pulse, it will be toggling. So from 0 to 1, in the next clock, it will be 1 to 0, then in the next clock, 0 to 1, and so on. Now this Q naught will be working as a clock to my first flip flop, first stage, right? Since we are talking about the 0 stage, first stage. So this Q naught will be working as a clock to my first stage. So now since the first stage is also a negative edge triggered, so at this instant now, my first stage will be working. And in the first stage again, when J and K both are equal to 1, it is working into the toggle condition. So at this instant, if initially Q1 is also in the reset condition, then whenever this negative edge of the Q naught will come, my Q1 will be into the toggle condition. So it is going from 0 to 1, and then 1 to 0, 0 to 1, and so on. Then moving to the next stage, Q2. So this second stage, in this again my JK is equal to 1, and it is a negative edge trigger. So if it is a negative edge trigger, and we are designing the up counter, so Q will be connected to the clock, Q1 will be connected to the clock, and whenever this negative edge of this Q1 will come, I will be having toggling at the output Q2. And if initially Q2 is also in the reset condition, this will be the waveform for Q2, and then similarly this will be the waveform for Q3. So if you will see, initially we are having all reset, so 0 0 0 0, then we are moving from 0 0 0 1. So at initially we were at this position, then when the first clock came, it moved to 0 0 0 1. For the occurrence of the second clock, it is 0 0 1 0, then 0 0 1 1, and so on. So it will be continuing till 1 1 1 and 1. So it is a 4-bit counter, so total number of states are 16. You can also say it is a mode 16 counter, and it is counting from 0 to 15, and that you can see from this table as well as from this waveform. Now the point to remember is, in this case, I am considering all the flip-flop as an ideal flip-flop. We are not considering any propagation delay here. For example, if I'm talking about the same waveform, so ideally if this is the clock, in that case, here it is a negative edge triggered flip-flop. So here, if initially Q naught is in the reset condition, then at this point, whenever this point will come, it has to be toggled. But it will be toggled after some delay. So it will be toggled here now. And this will be continue throughout this waveform. This is because of the propagation delay of your flip-flop. So this is your TPD. You actually say in the first stage that we are talking the 0 stage. So this much delay will be taken by your flip-flop to compute the output and then give to the Q0. So the first stage, because the first stage will be working here, right? So it will be waiting for this TPD. If everything is ideal, then as your clock edge is coming, your Q0 will be changing, and instantaneously your Q1, Q2, Q3 will be changing. But now because of this problem, because of this propagation delay, it is taking some time. So when I'm talking about the Q1, so now Q1 will be toggled. Ideally, it has to be toggled somewhere here. But now because of this TPD of Q0, or you can say the 0 stage, it should have toggled here. But we do have the propagation delay of the next stage, first stage as well. So now you will be getting toggling at somewhere here. So now this is the TPD of your first stage, propagation delay of first stage, and this is the propagation delay for the previous stage, 0 stage. And since I am considering both as a equal, I'm considering all the stages are identical. In this case, I can say if TPD is the time taken by flip-flop to compute the output, or TPD the propagation delay of my 0 state, for the Q1 it has to be twice of TPD because both are equal, right? For Q1, for the Q2 it will be 3 times, for Q4 it will be 4 times, or for the n stage will be n of TPD, that is the propagation delay time which is required. So now if we are saying in terms of the clocking, the clock frequency, that clock timing has to be greater than this NTPD. If this condition is not greater than or at least equal to the minimum, it could be equal to, because if this condition is not satisfied while it is computing the Q4 and this timing of clock is getting changed, then Q0 will be changed, and change in the Q0 will directly affect the Q1 and Q3. So that will affect your final output. So if you are using some decoders at the output of your 4-bit counter, you will get some spike in that. That's why the clock timing T clock has to be greater than or equal to NTPD. Now we can calculate the maximum frequency that we can apply. This is F clock, 1 by F clock. It has to be equal to greater than NTPD. So from here I can say the maximum clock frequency that I can apply, or you can say FC, it should be less than or equal to 1 upon n into TPD. So the maximum clock frequency that we can apply is equal to F max. It should be 1 upon n TPD. So for asynchronous counter, this will be your maximum clock frequency that you can apply. For example, if I'm taking some value, let my flip-flop is having propagation delay time of 50 nanoseconds. All the stages are identical, and I am designing a 3-bit counter. So for 3-bit counter, it will be counting from 0 to 7 because total 8 stages will be there. So F maximum, if you will calculate from here, so F maximum will be 1 upon 3 into 50 nano. Nano is 10 power minus 9. So this will be coming at around 6.67 megahertz. So this is the maximum clock frequency that you can apply at the clock of your 3-bit ripple counter. You cannot go beyond this. It could be less than this. If your clock frequency will be less than this, then switching will be slower. So this is a limitation in your ripple counters, that you cannot apply input frequency greater than some predefined values. Because once you are designing a circuit, your TPD will be fixed, number of stages will be fixed. So that will fix your maximum frequency that you can apply over the circuit. Right? But in the most of the waveform that we are discussing, we are talking about the ideal flip-flops here. So that's why you will see there's no time delay difference. So that is just for understanding, but actually there is some time difference. Now suppose, so this was a
4-bit asynchronous up counter in which we are working with the negative edge triggered flip flop. Now suppose we are having positive edge triggered and we still want to design a up counter. What we need to do? So in that case, we will be connecting Q bar as a clock to my Q bar as a clocking input. So if I'm having a positive edge triggered clock like this, and I want to design a up counter again, in that case, Q bar will be connected to the clock. So you can cross check it's working. It will be same as we discussed in the 2-bit asynchronous up counter. So if you will summarize this up counter concept, so I can say if you want to design a up counter, first you need to find whether you are working with a positive edge trigger or negative edge trigger. So if you are working with a positive edge trigger, then your Q bar need to be connected to the clock of next flip flop. And if you are working with a negative edge trigger, then your Q should be connected to the clock of next flip flop. So next we're talking about the down counter, 4-bit asynchronous down counter. Now in this case, if we are working with a positive edge trigger, for up counter we were connecting Q bar to clock, right? Since we are designing a down counter, we will be connecting Q with the clock, right? So if I'm checking it's working, this will be my clock, and we are working with a positive edge trigger. This is my positive edge trigger. That initially all are in the reset condition. So this is my Q0, Q1, Q2, and Q3. All are in the reset condition. Whenever the positive edge will come, this will be the toggle mode. Whenever this positive edge will come, my Q1 will be in the toggle mode. This is my Q0. Q1 will be in the toggle. Whenever this positive edge will come, my Q2 will be in the toggle. Now in this case, I am using D flip flop, right? But D is equivalent. If D is equal to Q bar, that is nothing but my toggle. So here I am using the D flip flop just to show the difference that we can use D flip flop as well to design a counter. Here it will be Q2, and then it will be toggled here, and for Q3 it will be toggled at this point, and it will be so on. So you can see initially all were 0, but after the first clock they become 1 1 1 1, then 1 1 1 0 1 0 1 1. So you can say it is a down counting. 4 times 1, 1 1 0, 1 1 0 1, and so on. So we are designing the down counters here. So I can directly summarize the thing here. I can say if I'm designing the down counter and if I'm working over the positive edge trigger, so I will be connecting Q to the clock. Similarly, for negative edge trigger, I will be connecting Q bar to the clock. So this is the overall designing summary of your asynchronous counter. For up counter and down counter, depending on if you are having the positive edge trigger. For up counter, Q bar need to be connected to the clock, and for down counter, Q need to be connected to the clock. For negative edge trigger, it will be reverse. Okay, next is your asynchronous up down counter. Till now we were talking about them as a different design, up counting and down counting. What if we need to combine the thing? You want to design a single counter which will be working as a both up counter as well as down counter. So for that, what we will do is first we will see what are our design requirements. So what I am considering is I am considering two inputs. One is a up input, one is a down input. So when up is 1, it will be up counter, and when down is 1, it will be down counter. So this is the assumption that we are considering here. Clocking strategy I am considering as a negative edge trigger. You can use combination of, but I am considering a single one, that is negative edge trigger only. So if for negative edge trigger, if I want to design the up counter, what was the requirement as per our discussion? That Q need to be connected to the clock. And for down counter, Q bar need to be connected to the clock. So this was our requirement. So first I'm just taking the two stages only. So this is J, this is T, and T will be equal to 1. negative edge triggered. So this is the clock. Now this is the T nodelet. This will be my Q node. This will be Q node bar. Here I am having the next stage in which this input will be 1 T1. We need to design some circuit here, because if it is a single up counter or down counter, we can simply have the connection from Q node or Q node bar. But since we are designing both together, so what we are saying, when up is 1, अगर up 1 है आपका यहाँ पे, Q need to be connected to clock. So Q node need to be connected to clock. So I can have a AND gate here, and I can say if up input is 1, this has to be connected to clock. Similarly, I can take a AND gate here. I can say when down is 1, only then this AND gate will be working. So this is my AND gate 1, this is my AND gate 2. So when up is 1, so down will be 0, right? Or in other words, you can take them as a single input. So we are taking it as a up and up bar. Or you can take, we are taking a single input A. So when A is 1, it is going for up counting. When A is 0, it is going for down counting. You can have input like this as well. So it's totally user dependent how you are considering. You can consider input like this also, and in both the time you can have a input. So here you can have A, and at the downside you can have a bar. So I can say A or up, A equal to up, or A bar equal to down. I can write it like this as well. So when up is 1, this has to be connected to the clock, and when down is 1, output of AND 2 need to be connected to the clock. So I can use an OR gate here, and I can combine these two. So when A is 1, it is going for up counter, or when up is 1, so X will be equal to Q node and Y will be 0. So 0 plus Q node will be Q node. So Q node is now connected when up is 1. So what we are doing, we are connecting Q node to the clock. So this is the up counter. And when A bar is 1, or you can say down is 1, so Y will be equal to Q bar and X will be 0. So here we are connecting Q bar to the clock. This is how we are designing the up down count in a single term. Now if it is a 3-bit counter, we will simply add this circuit to next stage as well. The same circuit will be repeated here, and then we are having the next stage. So it is quite simple. For 4-bit counter, you will repeat the circuit again here, right? So this uses of these gates, whether you are using AND or some other configuration, is totally user dependent. Technically, if you will compare the working of this AND gate, OR gate, and NAND gate is slightly faster than your AND and OR. Okay, so that's why we are generally try to connect them in terms of NAND gate. So what we are having, AND OR configuration, and if I want to convert them into NAND gate, because NAND operation is faster than your AND and OR operation. So I can have inverter here and inverter here, just like our usual techniques that we discussed in the starting 3rd or 4th lecture. And bubbled OR is also my NAND. So I can use 3 NAND gate as well. Thing will be same. So we took the concept of AND and OR just for understanding, and now I have converted that AND OR gate into NAND gate. And then the same 3 NAND gate will be repeated after every stage, depending on how many flip-flop stages are required. Like in this particular case, if I'm talking about a 4-bit counter, I will be requiring the 4 stage. So if you will see the exact diagram now, for 3 stages, it will be like this. So I will be having, so now don't get confused. This is the same diagram. Here we are having NAND 1, NAND 2, and NAND 3. I have converted the AND and OR configuration into NAND gate because this is slightly faster. Ultimately, whenever you are designing any circuit, your goal is to have minimum delay in that. Rest is same. So we are having with the negative edge trigger, and we are designing a up down counter. So here I am having 2 inputs, up and down. You can even have a single input A and A bar. It's totally up to you. If you want to design a up down counter for 4 bit. This will be repeated after this, and we will be having one more stage, right? Because circuit is same. Next, we're talking about the modulus asynchronous counter. Now, if you will see the previous examples like this, it is counting from 0 to 15. 0 to 15. Now, what if I want to design a mode 12 counter or mode 9 counter? So, for mode 9, it has to be count from 0 to 8 only. So, what we want after 8, it should be reset. It should not go into the next stage. It should not be counting the next state. That is our requirement. So basic circuit will be same like this only, but for stopping its working, to force it into go into reset condition, we will be using some external circuit. Now what is that? That we will see. So suppose I want to design a mode 9 counter. So first you will see for up and down counter, what is the clocking strategy? Whether you want to work on the positive edge or negative edge, because in the asynchronous counter, depending on your clocking strategy, you will be connecting Q to the clock or Q bar to the clock. This is a mode 9 counter, so it will be counting from 0 to 8. So 8 we can represent like 1000. So we need total 4 flip-flop. So that you need to find how many stages are required. So total 4 stages are required in this case. So after 1000, it should go back to 0000. It should not count 1001. So this will be my basic up counter where I'm connecting Q to the clock since I'm taking the negative edge trigger. And this will be counting from 0 to 15. And in all these 4 stages, let's stage 1, 2, 3, 4, my reset will be equal to 1. Right? Reset has to be equal to 1 because यहाँ पे हमारा जो ये क्लियर इनपुट्स हैं ये एक्टिव लो है, तो एक प्रॉपर ऑपरेशन के लिए क्लियर डिसेबल होना चाहिए. तो डिसेबल कब होगा? जब यहाँ पे 1 अप्लाई होगा. So this is a clear bar. So this has to be 1 because if it is 0, it will be cleared. It will be reset all the stages. So initially we will make it clear so that all the input initially will be at 0000 and then we will keep it at 1 throughout the operation of your circuit. Now when I'm saying it is a mode 9 counter, so it is counting only 0 to 8, total 9 states. So whenever this 1001 will come, it should reset. Rather than counting 1001, it should be resetting. So what we need to do is we will be using this clear input here. So we will be using some gate here in such a way that whenever this sequence came, this reset should be active. So I am using a NAND gate here. This is the property of your NAND gate that whenever all input are 1, it will be providing you 0 output. And in this case, we need the 0 output when the 9 is coming. So I can connect Q0 because Q0 will be 1, Q1 bar because Q1 bar will be 1 in this case. Q1 is 0, so Q1 bar will be 1, Q2 bar and Q3. So, and this combination will be unique. So whenever this combination will come, I will connect it to the reset here. So it is counting with the normal operation 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And after the 8, as it is going toward 1001. So 100 means what? Q0 is 1, Q1 bar will be 1 because this is Q1. So Q1 bar will be 1. This is my Q2. So Q2 bar will be 1 and Q3 is 1. So this is a unique combination. So whenever this combination will come, it will be into the reset condition. So rather than giving you output as a 1001, it will give you output 0000. This is how we are designing the modulus of any given counter. Similarly, suppose you want to design a mode 5 counter. So for mode 5 counter, we just need the 3 stages. So we just need these 3 till here only. No need to go for Q3 because mode 5 means total 0 to 4 stage and 4 is 100. So I just need only 3 stages for mode 5. So for mode 5, it is counting from 0 to 4 and whenever this 5th stage will come, it should be reset. So I will be using a NAND gate again. So output will be connected to the reset providing the reset is active low. So here inputs of this NAND gate will be Q0 because we want to reset it here. It is 101. So Q0, Q1 bar and Q2. I will connect these inputs here NAND gate and it will be going to the reset. And this I have designed a mode 5 counter. You just simply need to find the strategy for reset. That's all. That at which state you need to reset your counter. And then a proper gating scheme, whether you are using a NAND gate, NOR gate, what kind of gate you have to use. Okay, so one question, you have given a strategy in which I am using the reset as a active high. In the previous example, my reset was active low. Here we are using reset as a active high. You need to identify the counter type. First, whether it is synchronous counter or asynchronous counter. See the clocking strategy. If single clock is applied to all the flip-flops, it is synchronous. But in this case, clock is only applied to the first stage. Remaining stages make output of previous one is working as a clock. So this is the example of asynchronous counter. Next question, is it up or down counter? See the clocking strategy. You are working with positive edge clock and you are connecting Q bar to the clock. Positive edge and Q bar. Example of up counter. Now what is the modulus? Now see, how will you find the mode? So QB is 1, so generally we are having Q0, so this is my LSB. So we are having Q0 or QA, QB and QC. अब अगर ये up counter है, so it will be counting from 0, 1 and so on. And it is saying when QB and QC are, if any one of them is 0, reset will be 0. AND gate use कर रहे हो आप यहाँ पे, AND gate की आउटपुट 0 आएगी अगर QB और QC दोनों में से कोई भी एक 0 है. तो 0 पे तो ये रीसेट होगा नहीं. रीसेट कब होगा? जब AND गेट की आउटपुट आपकी 1 हो. और AND गेट की आउटपुट 1 कब होगी? When QB and QC both are 1 1. Right? So when both are 1 1, we will be having two combinations, 1 1 0 and 1 1 1. So it will be mode 6 counter because it will be reset at this instant only. Up counter तो ये instant तो बहुत बाद में आएगा. इससे पहले जैसे ये इनपुट मिलेगी ये रीसेट हो जाएगा. Right? So it is mode 6 counter. So it will be counting from 0 to 5 only. It will be counting till 101. So it is going from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is my 101. 101 तक जाएगा ये, और जैसे ही 110 होगा, it is going to 0. So it is a mode 6 counter. This is how you are finding the modulus for a given circuit. Okay, thank you. That's all for today. And this completes your discussion on asynchronous counter. Next, we will start with the synchronous counter in our next lecture.